What is going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazique, aka Franchise Played. I'm back with another episode of Mazique Speaks, which encompasses obviously Ask FP and a few other situations. Now, I actually got some new equipment. I'm gonna talk to you guys about my new equipment first. A lot of times people ask, like, what are you using, for your shows, or what are you using for your streams, and so on and so forth. So I just got this, which is the Razer Seiren, I believe is how you pronounce it. What is the other name of it? It's like some kind of other, like, you know how it has like some sort of number name. I don't know what it is, but it's the Razer Seiren microphone. I really dig the look of it. I'm still messing with the settings, so I don't know. I got to get that water bottle. I just saw that. I asked my wife to pick that water bottle up earlier, but she just was like, "Go on about your business, dog." Yeah, I've been still messing with the settings, so I hope it sounds good. I'll read the comments after the live stream. But yeah, I hope it sounds good. It looks awesome. I mean, this is pretty cool. I love this look of the mic. Yeah, it's just really awesome. And I also love how you can swivel it. I'm probably making up a lot of noise by doing that, but I'm really digging that. So excited about that. Also, if I can find it, here we go. I got this, which is my Razer, my new Razer capture card. Because if you've watched my streams for the My League series, you know that my my Elgato just went kaplooey. And actually, this is actually two different things packaged together. One of them is my wife's Bluetooth, which is not, she didn't realize that's in here. But here is this bad boy, which I'm hoping works better because my Elgato HD60S was a mess. So this is the Razer Ripsaw game capture card. And honestly, I was a little nervous about buying this because I think when I looked up, I think it had about 3 stars or something like that, or 3.5 stars. And I usually try to only make a purchase if something's got 4 stars. But I started reading the people who had the negative things to say, and I didn't think that it would impact me. But I don't know. I'm hoping that that's the case because I'm desperate at this point, because if the Elgato is not working for me, and I've even been on the phone with their technical support, and while they were willing to help, they were unable to help. So, it is what it is. So I really need this bad boy to work. And let's see. So it's not big at all, bigger than the Elgato. I also like that the ports are all on one side. That actually makes a lot of difference for me in terms of cord setup. So I dig that. This is the other side here. And yeah, so it's still small and not cumbersome at all. Got the instructions, which I need to read. And we got 4 different cords. We got this data cable, which I'm not sure where this one goes yet. And then you got this cable, which I believe is USB 3.0. It's going to go into the computer for the transfer. And then this is, what is this? Oh, this is an HDMI cable, regular HDMI cable. And then you got the old school component cables, if that's what you're still using, which is cool because it's the female ends. So it's like a converter or transfer over. So I'm gonna mess with that tonight after Junior and I stream. And I actually also got some other stuff that I may be able to stream easier without going on the PS4 to stream straight through. So I'm working to make some stuff a little bit better. So hopefully it results in some cool content. All right, enough of that. I did an impromptu unboxing for you guys, but enough of that. Let's go directly into Ask FP. And our first question comes from Matt Price. What it is, dog. You know what I just realized, though? Junior just asked me this question. He said, well, what was the question of the week? And I was like, ooh, you're correct, sir. I did. I've for whatever reason omitted that, which was not my intention. I have omitted that from the whole situation, so I'm gonna have to go back to that. I wasn't ready to do it this time, so we'll see. But Matt Price asked this question, which could have. Well, I'm sorry, he has two questions. Let's start with this one. He says, "What is the best run organization in sports?" For me, in my opinion, it really kind of comes down to two different organizations, and you guys may be able to guess what I'm about to say. It comes down to the San Antonio Spurs and the New England Patriots. For me, I would have to still go with the Patriots. It's hard. Some people might say, well, the Spurs have been so good, and the championships in the period of time has been so awesome, and so on and so forth, blah 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 blah. But you got to realize how difficult it is to stay as good as the Patriots have stayed for so long. That's a big deal, And so because of that, I'm just blown away by how good they've stayed for as long as they've stayed that good. Also, if you look at it, one of the common denominators with both of those two organizations and their longstanding success is they've had the same head coach throughout that entire time. So Greg Popovich and Bill Belichick, that's a big deal, man. To have the same head coach throughout that time. It shows stability. It shows with that stability, you get a consistent message. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why both of those organizations are what they are. So yeah. All right. So I think we got somebody pouring cereal or something back there. It's all good. It's all good. You're getting life sounds right now. As long as don't nobody pass gas, nobody won't have no problem with nothing. All right, let's go to our next question, which also comes from Matt Price. And Matt Price says, will any player ever catch Kareem for most points scored? I really don't, man. I'm going to tell you, I don't think so. I really don't think so. And I'm going to tell you the biggest reason why I don't think so is so you're getting guys that are obviously starting their careers earlier. So you definitely see that. You see guys starting their careers in 19 and 20. So you look at a guy like Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant would have to be like the number one, candidate for something like that. But the thing of it is this, man, it's about breaking a record like that or setting a record like that is about longevity and obviously prolonged excellence. So then when we start talking about longevity, then we got to look at staying healthy. That's what we have to look at that point, because it's one thing to play for a long time and have a lot of seasons that you've actually played the game. But have you been healthy throughout that time? Because Kareem's record is, all-time points scored. So I'm going to just show you a little something that kind of puts this whole thing into perspective. And because I think we can all agree that Kevin Durant's probably the one who has the best chance to catch Kareem out of anybody who's playing right now. Obviously, somebody could come from, that hasn't even played in the NBA as of yet. But let's take a look at Kareem and Kevin Durant's statistics, and then you'll see kind of what I mean here. Let's see. So if you look at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right, and I'm going to blow this up so it'll be a little bit bigger. Kareem started his career in 69-70, right, when he was 22 years old. So 2 years after, I believe, when Durant started his career. Or 2 years, he was 2 years older than Durant was when he started his career. And he played until he was 41 years old. And look at the durability. The durability is amazing. So that's one of the biggest things that jump right out at you. The least amount of games he ever played in any season was 65. That's just, you play 20 seasons and never miss more than 17 games in any season. Even when he was 41, he played in 74 games. That's just straight bananas, right? But Kareem had scored a total of 38,387 points, right? He led the league in total points his first 3 years of his career. And the 748 that he scored in his last season is the least amount of points he ever scored. Okay. So yeah, so just let that soak in for a second, right? So now let's look at Durant. Durant started he went in 07-08. He was 19 years old. He's already been in the season, been in the league. This is his 10th season, right? So Durant's already had a season where he played in only 27 games. So that's going to obviously work against him in terms of catching Jabbar. This season he's missing time as well, so he probably won't play anymore for this regular season. I would be surprised if he did, but 59 games already. So this is a season where he's playing a lot less. Then you look at the 2011-12 season, which was the lockout season. He only played in 66 games. But if you look at total points, he's at 19,060 points. So if you just do some quick math, so I think it was 38,373 minus 19,060. So he's just under halfway there, right? So he'd have to score 19,313 more points in his regular season career to catch Jabbar. Now it took him 10 seasons to get here. So which means he'd have to play at least 10 more seasons at the same level to catch Jabbar. Do we believe that Kevin Durant will be the same guy at age 38 that he is now? Or I mean, there could be some decline because obviously Jabbar had some decline, but I don't think that there could be any, because he has to score the same amount of points that he scored already to do that. Then also, if you factor in the fact that factor in him playing in Golden State, I don't know how much longer he's going to play because he could leave after this season, but he's playing in Golden State where he's sharing offense, even though he is the man as far as the offensive weapon for the team. But these are things that, this kind of backs up why I don't think that anyone will catch Jabbar, because I really just feel like it's going to be the pace that you'd have to set. And I mean, we're looking at Durant. Durant is easily the most prolific scorer since he's been in the NBA, just from his rookie season to now. James Harden is scoring tons of points. But he hasn't been, early in his career, he wasn't the prolific scorer that Durant was. He had to once he got to Houston, he got the chains taken off. He could have been doing it probably earlier with Oklahoma City, but he didn't really get the chains taken off of him. So he lost about 3 or 4 years, or was it 3 years of production. The other thing is this, and this one is very important. It's easier for a big man to stay as productive from a scoring standpoint for longer than it is for a wing or a guard or point guard, because they're generally scoring closer to the basket, unless, of course, you got your bigs to step outside and shoot and so on and so forth. But an old school center like what Kareem was, who scored 95% of his points in the paint or around the paint, it's less wear and tear on your body, and you'll be able to score that way. And even when you're not 100% healthy, you can still score that way a little bit easier than you could if you had to play out and away from the basket. But here's the thing, that type of center almost doesn't even exist in the NBA anymore. Now, we know things work in trends, and we could see the evolution of a big time center or big traditional centers. We could see that come back. All it takes is for one great player to come out of college with that style, and for him to go to a team and them to have success with him playing that way. That's all it really takes. And then you'll see teams that are emulating that. But for now, that's not what teams are doing. So I don't know if we'll see a big man that'll be able to score in the same way that Kareem scored. And I don't think that a guard like a Russell Westbrook, who's putting up insane numbers, or James Harden, I don't think that we can find a guard that's going to score that way for as long. I mean, just look at Kobe. I mean, Kobe was a guard, and Kobe put up ridiculous scoring numbers his whole career for the most part, except for maybe the first 2 years. And even he doesn't catch Kareem. So yeah, long story short, no, I don't think it's going to happen. All right, so let's go to our next question. Let's set us back up here. We were doing some statistical breakdowns there, so got a little throwed. All right, the next question also comes from Matt Price, and Matt Price asks, can the NCAA be fixed in terms of financially compensating student athletes? I believe it can be fixed. Will it ever be fixed? I don't know. I think the only reason that it's not currently fixed right now is just pure greed on the NCAA's side. I am a person that believes that collegiate athletes should be paid. I do believe that. I don't believe that they should be paid according to their level of performance. So I'm not saying that Lonzo Ball should make more than the 10th player on the roster. I think they're all dedicating the same amount of time to the program, and I think that they should be. I think that because of the money that sports generates, I think that they should be paid according to the time, for like almost like a campus job, or a job on campus. Basically, I think that's how they should be paid. That's how they should be compensated. Now, what I also think though is that if there are endorsements that they're able to get when they're in college, I think that they should be able to accept those endorsements. So if someone wants to come and give Lonzo Ball a Nike shoe contract now, he should be able to sign that contract and get paid. If you look at it, basketball is like the only sport that doesn't allow that. They're the only sport. I remember, man, Jennifer Capriati, when she was 14 years old playing tennis, she had sponsors. She had endorsements. Freddie Adu had endorsements when he was 14 years old, and he signed to play professionally in Major League Soccer. Basketball is the only sport that's limiting obviously, in football, but basically sports that are governed under the NCAA they're the only ones preventing the kids from getting paid while they're quote unquote amateurs. They're only ones preventing them from building their own brands, and getting compensated for their own brands. The NCAA is basically using all of these kids and not allowing them to capitalize on their brand until they leave. So essentially, they're forcing kids to be one and dones if they want to get in on their money early. That's basically how it breaks down. So I do think it can be fixed, but will it is the whole different situation, right? Matt Price has another question, and Matt is good for taking it away from sports altogether sometimes. So he goes hard with this one. He goes with a one gotta go. Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, and Prince. One gotta go. Now, quite obviously, all three of these gentlemen are or were amazing entertainers, singers, songwriters, performers. But if I had to say a one gotta go, and y'all gonna be mad at me because this person just died recently, my one gotta go would be Prince. And it's not to say that I don't like Prince, because Prince has some music that I dig. But if I was to say who has the most music, whose catalog, who has the highest percentage of their catalog that I don't like, it would probably be Prince, because there's some stuff that Prince does and I'm like, what are you doing? I don't even know what you're talking about right now. Like, you are on another planet. And that's cool, because some people think that that's his genius, is that he would transport himself to another planet. But I choose not to live on that planet sometimes. So that's why. I mean, Michael Jackson is, in my opinion, is the greatest entertainer I've ever seen in terms of like a non-athletic entertainer. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I think Michael Jackson and Steve McNair, I believe, died on the same day, right? I was distraught for about 3 days. I was like, are you really going, what's really going on? Like, I ain't gonna even lie. And I remember being mad at myself for being upset. I'm like, you don't know Michael Jackson. Why are you bothered by Michael Jackson? What, you don't really know Michael Jackson, and so I was just like, oh man, this is insane. You know, I'm like, I don't even understand. I feel like there is blood on the dance floor. No, I didn't really feel like that. But I'm like, this is not good. I don't like it. I didn't like how I felt. But and Stevie Wonder, I am a humongous Stevie Wonder fan. If you had to put Marvin Gaye on here instead of Stevie, if you had put Marvin Gaye on here instead of Prince, then I would have just had to I would have had to just click the red X and say, forget it, I ain't gonna even answer. I ain't got nothing to say. Because Marvin Gaye is my dog. That's my favorite. He's my favorite individual performer. He's my favorite solo artist. So yeah, I don't know what I would have said at that point. But yeah, this one was pretty easy because it's Prince's would be the one that has to go. Sorry, Prince. I love Insatiable. I love Scandalous. I love so many. It's a lot. I can't even name them all. How many of them I like? I mean, you know, it's a bunch of songs, bunch of Prince songs I like. If I had to pick one that had to go, he'd have to go. I ain't nothing personal. Just you'd have to go. Don't get mad. I'm sure he's not mad, but y'all don't get mad. At any rate, the next one that comes from Matt Price. He says, will there ever be a woman head coach in the NBA? Boy, I'm trying to tell you, Matt like to get down deep in there and just get down in the nook and cranny of it and talk about it. Bring it up. Don't shy away from nothing. Come on with the stuff. I think that's what Matt Price, right when he type his questions, I think he'd be sitting there at his phone on his computer going, I'm going to come with the stuff. We ain't going to shy away from nothing. I'm going to ask the questions. We're going to talk about it because it's growth in conversation. I think he do that. But will there ever be a woman coach in the NBA? I do believe there will be. I absolutely think that there will be. Becky Hammond has already broken some ground by being an assistant coach. I believe it's for the San Antonio Spurs. And I think there will be. I think there will be a female head coach, and she obviously has the inside track on becoming the first one. I do believe that's one of her goals, and I think it will be. I really do. I can't tell you a time frame or anything like that, but I would not be surprised if it was sometime within the next 3 to 5 years. I would not be so. I'll say it like this: by the 2020-2021 season, I believe that there will be a female head coach in the NBA. I believe that. All right, let's see what's got. We lost ourselves here. All right. Next question. Let me see. All right, and this one comes from Brock Lesnar, and he says, "Do you think the Bears will draft Deshaun Kaiser with the third pick?" I think there's no way they draft Deshaun Kaiser with the third pick. I think if they draft any quarterback with the third pick, it will be Deshaun Watson. Watson has proven himself to be the number one quarterback in the draft. I mean, in this draft, he shined at the combine, which only backed up what he did during the regular season, and then in the postseason, leading Clemson to the national title, past Alabama. I mean, I think he's got to be the first quarterback taken, but it doesn't have to be. I'm sure some team could have a higher grade on Mitch Trubisky. I don't think a team will have a higher grade on Deshaun Kaiser. He did not show well at the combine. He's a big, huge, physically strong kid, but I think there's a lot of questions about him. I think a lot of people feel he's too raw. They have questions about his accuracy. But he is a big physical kid that seems to be somebody who could stay healthy in the NFL. But I think if the Bears took somebody number 3, it's got to be Deshaun Watson. Another thing about Watson is a leader. And I think that's one of the things that is being lost, not being lost, but needs to be talked about a little bit more. The Bears need a face of their franchise. The Bears need a guy who is an unquestioned leader who can say, hey, we're going in this direction, and people believe him when he points in that. You ever seen Malcolm X when he shows up and there's a riot going on and he comes out there and the police and there's this standoff and then the whole crowd is all amped up and then he goes like this and everybody is quiet and then he does like this and everybody walks that way, and then Kanye used the sample. He says no one man should have all that power. the Bears need a quarterback that's got that much power. He needs to show up when the game is in an uproar and when situations are in the uproar, and they need him to raise his hand just like this, not literally, but figuratively, to raise his hand and calm the situation with his play, with his presence or whatever, and then to point this way with his play and with his direction, and have the team and the organization going at it. That's what the Bears need at quarterback. I think that Deshaun Watson is in better position to put his hand up and point the direction and have that much power than Deshaun Kaiser. So that's what I would like to see. And that's what I think if they do take a quarterback at number 3, which is what I think they should do, I think it would be Deshaun Watson. All right, our next question comes from, who does it come from? I'm going to tell you in a second. I ain't going to keep it from you. No secrets. All right. We got, let me see who this is because I got part of it cut off. Can't have part of it cut off. That ain't going to work out. This comes from Simon Torvey Sunland. He said, it's a tight race for the playoffs in the East. 6 through 10. The Pacers, the Pistons, the Bucks, the Heat, the Bulls. How do you see it finishing? Well, I was all ready to say that the Bulls weren't going to make the playoffs, and I was happy about it. But I think if they continue to start and play their veterans, they might make it in, meaning starting Rondo and putting Mirotic back out there with consistent minutes. They played their best game of the season against Charlotte a couple of days ago. I mean, I think literally, I think it was their best overall game of the season. And so, man, I was impressed by the way they played. But I think that, I don't know, I think Miami's going to find their way in the playoffs. I do. I think Miami's going to find their way in the playoffs. But I think the Bulls could potentially inch right back into that 8th spot, and maybe they force down a very inconsistent Bucks team who is really hurt by the absence of Jabari Parker. Jabari's injury, I think, is being undersold. Also, Chris Middleton not quite being able to get back as healthy as they needed him to be, or they need him to be. So I think you're going to see I think you see probably the Bulls slide back in there, but I think Miami's going to end up 8th. But obviously they need Goran Dragic's eye to heal. Man, his eye look, man, I don't think man, that looks like, whoo, that was nasty, wasn't it? That was on a whole nother level of the game there. I'm like, is that a basketball injury? They say he got elbowed in basketball. I don't know, man. Like somebody hit him in the head with a rearview mirror. I was like, whoa, that was a lot of stuff happening. But yeah, I'm hoping his eye gets better because that wasn't cute at all. There wasn't nothing cute about it. He's smiling in the pictures. I'm like, I ain't smiling nothing. I mean, man. All right, next question comes from Simon Torvey Sunland. He says, do you think that the NBA should continue to cut down on the back-to-backs? Honestly, man, I don't know about that, because here's my thing about the back-to-backs. I understand there's a lot of issue about back-to-backs. You got to look at the fact that, when you are having a back-to-back game, you're getting guys maybe that are not at their best. And when you got guys that are playing that are possibly not at their best, obviously then the quality of the product drops down a little bit, right? So that's really what it's about. It's about the product. So you want to see the best basketball on the floor at all times. So that's an issue. But if you keep cutting down on the back-to-backs, you're now setting up a situation where the season is, I think you should want to shorten the season. I think you should want to get into the postseason quicker. The postseason is so long, man. I mean, the postseason is, oh my God, in the NBA. So I'm wondering, if you cut down on the back-to-backs, how does that push the season out a little bit further? And if that's the case, then that's changing the entire schedule. So on one hand, I understand it, but I don't know if they should try to cut down on it anymore. And at the end of the day, it's a job that requires, a good amount of hours, but you get paid a good amount of money for it. So I don't feel sorry for nobody playing a whole lot of basketball, getting paid a whole lot of money. I'm sorry. I mean, nobody told you got to go work in the sewer for the second half of the game. It ain't, it's not that. So I don't know. I don't think they should continue to cut down on it. All right, Simon Torve Sunland says, what did you think? What did you think of Andre Iguodala's "Do What Your Master Says" comment? I think that honestly, I think a lot of people play a lot of ways that they probably shouldn't. They joke about certain types of things, and y'all know me. I like to joke. I like to be silly and say all kinds of crazy stuff. But if you ever notice, there's certain things I don't joke about. There's certain things I don't go. Certain places I don't go with comedy. I can't say I've always been that way, but in my older age, and thank the Lord, bless me to have a little bit more of a be a little bit more thoughtful before I let certain things come out of my mouth. And I'm still not obviously perfect. I'm still could say something that I shouldn't, but I think even if he was okay, so it's two different things. If he said that and he's joking, it's probably a poor joke, right? Some you shouldn't. Everybody says things, a joke here or there, and then after you say it, you're like, yeah, I probably shouldn't say that. That probably wasn't so cool. You know what I'm saying? Well, at least you should have that kind of feeling. I think that's probably what that should have been. One of them jokes where you just be like, I probably shouldn't say that. But if he wasn't joking, which I'm almost thinking he potentially wasn't, I think that Andre Iguodala is a little passive aggressive sometimes. He throws little things out there, them laughing but serious type comments. And I think that almost kind of came off of that's how this was. Like, you really feel like that? Because I think people kind of know that Steve Kerr can be a bit of a taskmaster. And I think that Andre is a thoughtful person. He's demonstrated that throughout his entire career. He's not just traditional kind of guy. So he thinks about different things. He thinks about things a different way than a lot of guys think. So I'm almost inclined to feel like he felt some kind of way about something, and that was just his way to kind of throw something out there. So I feel like that was like a laughing but serious kind of comment. And in my opinion, if you ain't gonna come at it all the way, then don't come at it at all. And so don't throw no little something out there and you mean something, and in the back after you say it, you're talking about no, dog. If you're gonna say it, you're gonna bring it up, and you feel like there's some sort of something going on here. You feel like dude worked you so hard, and he, if you feel like there's some sort of racial connotations or something having to do with the way, then say it. If you're not gonna say that, then just go about your business. Just go about your business. You know what I mean? Don't play no games. Don't try to play with. I'm gonna play with the media because I say little things to get them in an uproar. Well, bro, we don't really care. Honestly, from speaking from a media standpoint, we don't care like about it personally. It's just a story to write about. So, I mean, a lot of times athletes talk about, the media is going to take something, go crazy with it. There's no emotional attachment to you and what you're talking about, dog. It's just a story that people are going to want to read. So I don't really care. I could care less if you said that. Doesn't do nothing to me or do nothing for me. But, it's just doing your job. This is something that's going to be a topic of conversation. I have a job to write or talk or cover things that are a topic of conversation. I'm going to do that. So there it is. All right, next question comes from Weston Flores. He says, what sport tells the best stories? I think obviously, so let's qualify this whole situation. Wrestling, as much as I love wrestling is not a sport, in my opinion. I think what defines a sport is an athletic competition where you don't know the outcome of the sport. The outcome is not predetermined. So if you have a sport that was somehow fixed, to me, at that point, it would not be a sport anymore. And what makes wrestling not a sport is because the outcome is predetermined. That's the only reason. Outside of that, if it wasn't that, then I would say it was a sport. So, but if it was a sport, I would say wrestling tells the best story, but it's not. So in that situation, I feel that basketball tells the best stories. Basketball has the most visible emotion from its players and its coaches and even from its fans. Part of it is just simply the uniform. right? It's the most revealing uniform. Basically, you know what? No, I'm changing this in the mid answer. I'm changing my mind. So I hope y'all didn't click off this video. The sports that it's two sports that tell the biggest story: MMA and boxing. No sport tells a, and I said basketball because I've been saying basketball for probably the last 10 years when somebody asked me a question like that. But as I was just answering that, I said, wait a minute, no, that's not it. It's combat sports. Because in combat sports, when there is a super competitive, brutal battle, you seem to look and you're looking at each one of these athletes in a involuntary, intimate situation. I'm talking about when you have fought and battled somebody else physically in this way, going back and forth, and there's actually, and whether or not there's real animosity there at all or not, but when you're watching this competition unfold, I mean, you are like wondering what this fighter's thinking about, what that fighter's thinking about. And in between rounds, you're watching their faces. You're watching how, you know, how the last round affected them emotionally. You're watching how they're responding, or how you think the instructions from their corner are affecting them. It's the same thing in MMA. It's just deep in that way. If you ever seen, I had this conversation actually with my editor at Forbes, one of my editors at Forbes, and we talked about photography, boxing photography. Have you ever taken a look at some of the shots that the really good photographers grasp? Like Stephanie Trapp is one of them. She's the one that pops in my mind most. Have you ever watched how just like look at the stories in a really good boxing photo? Like you can look at both guys' face or both girls and look, and you're like, man, you can, it almost looks like it captures the complete joy, the complete fury, the complete level of despair, whatever is going on at that moment. In boxing and in MMA, you see it. So I think that combat sports tell the best stories. All right, the next question comes from Weston Flores, and Weston Flores says, let's see, when will Japanese baseball star Sho Nakata come over to the major leagues, and what team should he be on? So, all right, Weston, I'm gonna have to tell you, bro, I'm gonna be very, I'm gonna be pretty doggone biased when I say this, because I actually have wanted this guy for the last 3 years, ever since I heard about him. And yeah, I think he should come to the Cubs. If you guys are not familiar with Sho Nakata, and I'm gonna say this before as I'm checking to make sure that I'm correct with this. Sho Nakata is a pitcher who has, as a hitter, he is the truth. Like he's not a good hitting pitcher. This guy is he can actually, no, see, it's not Sho Nakata. It's not Sho Nakata. So I'm thinking about somebody else. So there's and somebody's gonna have to help me with the name, which guy this is. But there's a player who is in Japan right now, and there's a crazy bidding war going on for him. And he is a pitcher whose hitting skills are not, like I said, they're above like Madison Bumgarner. Bumgarner. They're above that level where this guy's a really good, or above Jake Arrieta, where he's a really good hitter for a pitcher. He is a legit hitting prospect who is actually also a really high level pitcher. So that's the guy I've been thinking about. Sho Nakata, I know I've heard his name, but I'll be honest, I'm not totally familiar with him. I'm looking at him now. He is 27 years old, and his statistics are pretty sweet, playing in Japan. It looks like he's averaged somewhere between 25, 26 home runs over the last 6 seasons. Around 90 RBIs looks like he's what he's averaged. Doesn't look like he has much speed, but he looks like he's a really good hitter, at least a really good power hitter. So I don't know what the deal is with him. let's see, he led Japan to a win over the Netherlands 3 days ago, which is probably what prompted Weston to ask this question. But I gotta find out who I gotta find out the name of the Japanese prospect that is the pitcher and the outside the outstanding hitter as well. I'm gonna see if I can pull that up real quick. This is why I need like somebody working with me who is like can pull up this stuff when I just start talking about it. I think it's Shohei Ohtani. I think that's who I'm talking about. Shohei Ohtani. He is a pitcher, outfielder, and designated hitter. So just think about this guy. This guy could, if he went to the American League, he could potentially pitch one day and be in the lineup as a designated hitter a few of the other days. Now, obviously, you still have to get some rest because pitching, it's really taxing physically. But I thought you were talking about Shohei Ohtani. He's only 22 years old. Check this out. He's 6'4", and he's left-handed. So we're talking about imagine the types of double switches and things like that that could go on with Shohei Ohtani. He could come in, like say for instance, you got a pitcher in the game and you want to save a reliever. So, but the other team has 2 or 3 left-handers coming up to the plate, and yeah, we frying something over there. Yeah, I'm gonna eat good. I know that because my wife just put something in the frying and making a loud sound. But you could go to a lefty. Yeah, I mean, if the other team has 2 lefties coming up, 2 lefty hitters, you could pull Ohtani from the outfield or from his designated hitter spot, put him in as a pitcher to get the 2 guys out, and then he can go back to his position, and then you could bring in another pitcher, another right-handed pitcher to finish out that inning or to finish out the rest of the game. So it's all kinds of crazy stuff that could go on with this guy. I'm very interested in seeing what the prospects are for him. But yeah, his name is Shohei Ohtani. I had to look that up because I really, when you first said that, I thought that's who you were talking about, but it's not. So I don't know, man. We'll see if I have to get a little bit more information to find out, what's going to go down with Nakata. But he's 27, so I mean, it would be like signing a guy in his prime, but I don't think the bidding war for him is going to be anywhere too close to what it's going to be for Ohtani because he's younger, he's left-handed, and he has the novel skill set. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's go to our next question, which comes from Gabriel Bowmeister. And Gabriel Bowmeister, let's see here. Let's get Gabriel on the screen here. Gabriel Bowmeister says, when are you going to release gameplay content on MLB The Show 17? And are we going to expect awesome franchise gaming from you? Gabriel, I have every intention to play MLB The Show franchise mode this year. As a matter of fact, I'm like, did I just pull up my email on the thing? I did. I hate to do that. I hate it when I do that because I'm so conditioned to actually pulling up my email. It's almost like I'm addicted to it. Like if I see like that I have emails, I automatically hit it. And y'all probably just saw something that I just got, an email that I got, and y'all like, oh, show that, even if you even care about Super Mega Baseball too. But yeah. But anyway, I am definitely going to be doing some MLB The Show franchise mode stuff for sure. I love the game. I am very excited about what's coming up. And I also have I've been talking about this a lot lately, how I have totally focused my channel to focus on primarily franchise mode stuff. And if you've been noticing what videos I've been putting up a lot lately, it's all been geared in that direction. And I'm planning to keep on doing that. I finally got to a place, and if my wife was ever on a stream, she could tell you how much I've gone back and forth over the years about what direction my channel should be in, what content should I include, and should I do this and should I do that. But I'm at a point now, man, where franchise mode is really what I love. And so that's what the majority of my content should be. I think I can do that content the best. There will be, I haven't decided yet on like my career, because every game seems to have some sort of my career concept. I haven't really decided on how much of that I'm going to do. I will do Road to the Show, but I haven't really decided how much of that I'm going to do. But I know I won't be doing my team and Ultimate Team. And it's not that I don't like those modes. They're cool, but you can't do everything. And those are not my modes like franchise mode. Franchise modes are, and career modes. Also, like the stuff like the My Park and Pro-Am, that's ingenious concepts, but those are not my modes. So I'm not going to do those either. And, you know, but I will do, you know, obviously continue to do Mazique Speaks. And I will also, you know, every once in a while I have something to say about real sports, and I might put up some sort of rant with that. I obviously still do the rosters. I don't know about player faces, tattoos, and shoes. If I will continue that, I haven't really decided yet, because it really doesn't fit the new direction. But I do know that it is a video series that has a good amount of fans. So if I do hold on to it, that'll be the reason. But I'm really trimming the fat quite a bit, and because really the thing of it is I want, you know, you might look at my subscriber count and be like, man, you know, it's almost 60,000 subscribers or whatever. But when you look at the average views that I've been getting, a lot of that comes from the fact that for a while I was inconsistent. But another aspect of that, and I was talking about this when people were asking questions about YouTube success on the stream yesterday. But a lot of the reasons why there's that large disparity is because the content is so varied. So somebody jumps on and they subscribe because of a NBA 2K My League series, but they're thinking that they're going to see that a certain amount of times, but then they don't see another video for 5 or 6 days or 7 days. But then there's all this other content in between where they may or may not like that content. So now it's like, okay, I just stop checking my sub box for you because I don't know when the series that I actually liked is going to run. So if I'm condensing the amount of different types of videos that I do, I'll get more people who know what to expect and then are more apt to tune in every time there's a video because it's in line with what they subscribed for. So I hope that makes sense. And I hope that's something that someone who is thinking about doing a YouTube channel can take that and apply that to their own game. All right. Next question is also from Gabriel Bowmeister. As a matter of fact, this is the last question of Ask FP. And he says, is the My League roster coming out with the Legends roster or no? So at first, honestly, man, it took me a second to kind of know what you meant here, because I'm like, My League roster, I didn't get it, right? But I think I understand. You're talking about, am I doing a roster based off of what's going on with me and Junior's My League series? And the answer to that is no. And the reason being is because there's really nothing different in terms of, I mean, you know, there's a few trades that have happened. And then, of course, you have Junior and I's 6 creative players. So, I mean, I don't think there's anything really there to do that. If anything, what I would do, Gabriel, is I did a series a while back called Franchise Fiction. And it was basically setting up a My League with a draft class that had all fictional players. So I have like this dream concept that I would like to do, and I would never tell y'all I'm 100% going to do it because I know how much work it would take. I'd have to be halfway done with it before I even tell y'all I was going to do it because it's a lot of work. But I have a dream, and I mentioned this before on another video, but I have a dream concept of creating an entire new league in NBA 2K. So I'm talking about new teams, new everything, and all new players, all fictional players. So no LeBron, no Steph, no none of that. Take them all out of the league and have 12 players on 12, 13 players, brand all new players on every team. Even have free agents, have a rookie class that is all fiction, just a whole different universe, right? But to do that, it's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take a lot of work, especially if I want to do it with some kind of personality, because I'd have to first of all kind of tell you guys some of these guys' stories so that you care about them. Then also I'd have to decide whether or not am I going to take the randomly generated names they give you every time you create a player, or am I going to create my own names? And y'all know me, I'm going to create my own names. I love creating names. I just come up with stuff just crazy off the top of my head. So it's that. And then how much customization am I going to do? Because when every time you create a guy, they give him a set of physical dimensions, but I might want to make a guy that's specifically like this and like that. So I think that's the best way to do it. And needless to say, that's going to take a lot. So that's really what I'm looking at doing. If I can do that, I don't know. I'll let you guys know. But that's an idea that I really wanted to do for like the last 2 or 3 years since they really fleshed out my league. So if I'm able to get to that, I'll let you guys know. But that's like a dream, like off there. Like if I can accomplish that, I think that'd be really cool. I don't know how many views it would get because it obviously won't have the names that people are searching for. But I think my hardcore audience, and which I am paying a lot of attention to you guys now, more so than trying to grab a bunch of new people, which I think that'll happen if the content is good. Right now, I'm trying to make sure that I hit off my people who've been there forever, who always come through, always watch the videos. That's the Lurkings and the Matt Prices and the Pile Stirrers and all of you guys. I'm blessed that it's too many that I can remember the name, but all of you guys that are always there, Simon Torvey Sunlands, the Western Flores, all you guys, the Victor Daniel Torres, all you guys that are always coming through, Index West, Master Assassination, all you guys, more names are coming to me as I'm doing this. I'm trying to make videos for y'all, and if I can continue to do that, maybe I can grow the amount of y'all that there is, So I think that demographic might love that concept. So that would be why I would do it. All right, so let's go. This is kind of like my just go free aspect of Mazique Speaks, where I like to just kind of talk about whatever is going on right now. So I'm going to start off. We're going to go over an article that I just wrote. Not actually go through the whole article, so you can read it. But we're going to talk about an article that I just wrote, and it is about the Ball brothers' dad, LaVar Ball. And I wrote this article, and it basically what it was talking about is LaVar Ball like out of his mind, and I'm going to see, we got to find the article I got. Here we go. So I ask, is LaVar Ball a marketing genius? Is he an out of control dad, or is he a little bit of both? I think he's probably a little bit of both, but many people can't understand why I would even imply that this man is a genius. And I mean, I'll put it like this. If you list, like, I don't know if anybody got an opportunity to see LaVar Ball today on Sports Nation. He was on Sports Nation with Marcellus Wiley, who is one of my absolute favorites. That's my dog. That's my dog for real. He actually follows me on Twitter too. That's my guy. And Michelle Beadle, who I'm not as much of a fan of. And they're on, I mean, LaVar's on there, and as I'm listening to him talk, everybody knows somebody like LaVar Ball. He basically is a crap talker. He just talks crap. He's good at it. He enjoys it. He loves it. He gets a kick out of the fact that when he says something, you like, what? Dude, you don't believe blah, 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 blah. You don't know where the world you believe. He gets a kick out of saying stuff that sends people going crazy. And he said, then he said, y'all saying I'm doing this or I'm saying this stuff for attention and this, that, and the third. I've been talking like this my whole life. The only difference is now is y'all got a camera following me everywhere I go. He said, this is the way I've been talking. And everybody knows, like, we all, a lot of us, and you know, I try not to divide things, you know, racially, but as a black man, I think almost every black man in the world knows somebody who talks like LaVar Ball. Just that's just the way it just is the way it is, and you don't necessarily take it personal or anything like that. But he made a comment today that I thought was interesting and was extremely bold, and some people might consider it racist, but I didn't take it that way, and I'm really sensitive about that, even no matter who it's coming from. I don't care if it's a black man talking about white folks, a white person talking about black folks, Hispanic person talking about Asians. I don't care who it is. I am very sensitive to saying things that are racially insensitive, right? So he said today, he said, you know, people start talking about, am I embarrassing my kids, or am I distracted? Am my sons? All these things they ask me about my kids. He said, you know, the only people that seem to ask me that question is white people. And I think when you go down to deep into that comment, I think he's talking about culturally, there's a different type of a situation in a lot, especially at his age, you know, which is, you know, I'm somewhere close to his age bracket. I don't know exactly how old he is, but you know, he got his oldest son is 20 and my oldest son will be 20. So I'm figuring that it's around about the same thing, right? So culturally, many African-American homes are like the parents say what goes on. That's it. It doesn't, you can not like it. And I know you don't like it. It's cool, but I'm your father or I'm your mother. And this is what I said. And that's kind of it. And there's this belief that maybe in some other cultures, it doesn't necessarily work that way. So I think that's where that comment came from, because as an average, as like, okay, I wouldn't necessarily do what LaVar Ball is doing. I wouldn't, you know, like, because Junior's playing, my oldest son is playing basketball. If they're playing, and I wouldn't be as braggadocious about them. And I think I said this before in another stream. I would defend them if they were attacked. Somebody is saying that they weren't that good, I would come to their defense. But I don't think I don't believe I would make these unsolicited comments that he's making. But I also understand that he has an agenda that he's trying to he's going with. He is trying to build the brand of his sons. That is what he's trying to do. He is trying to maximize their earning potential. And he is, I use this quote in this story, in my article. LaVar Ball is the Paul Heyman to his son's Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar comes to the ring. He looks awesome. He blows guys away. You know, he looks every bit the part. He's mean. He's this, that, and the third. But when it comes to selling him, that is left to Paul Heyman. Now, obviously, if Brock wasn't big, wasn't strong, didn't look the way he looked, Paul Heyman could talk all he wanted. If he looked like James Ellsworth, it wouldn't matter. So the same thing with the Ball brothers. If they don't play well, then he's just going to be talking. He knows that. This guy is not, he's just not a dumb guy. He's not a dumb, no matter how much you think the stuff that he says is dumb, he's not a dumb guy. He's actually, even the stuff that he says that is preposterous, he's saying it for a reason. He wants you to freak out, because if you're talking about him in any way, negative or positive, he has a way, or he stands to benefit from it. People, polarizing figures benefit more than just about anything. Look at Floyd Mayweather. If Floyd Mayweather was universally liked and he was just, you know, this model type of a citizen in terms, and I don't mean like criminally, because things you do criminally is a whole different story. But if he always said these things that were straight edge, all the way straight down the line, just the whole cookie cutter type of thing. And I don't have any problem with people who keep it positive. I'm not saying that. I'm making a point. But if he was that kind of a guy, there would not be the level of appeal that there is for his fights. Because if you just think about it for a second, Floyd doesn't really have exciting fights. Floyd is outstanding in the ring. He's ridiculously skilled, and he's so skilled to the point where he can suck all of the action, the what I would call the casual boxing fan action, because I happen to enjoy the defensive aspect of boxing, but I realize I'm in the minority with that. But he can extract all of that out with his pure skill, but yet he's the pay-per-view king in boxing. Why is that? It's because he has sold himself with the mouthpiece. He has made enough people hate him to the point where now there's a whole another end of the spectrum who loves him. But either way, you want to see him, whether you came to see him fail or you came to see him succeed, you came to see him. That's the whole component. And that's the same type of thing that LaVar Ball is attempting to do with his sons. Now, the only valid argument I see is this: is he putting too much pressure on his kids to succeed? Because now that he's saying all of this stuff that he's saying, obviously there are going to be people that are waiting for them to fall. But I would contend that there are going to be people waiting for them to fall either way. Because let's take a look at Steph Curry. Steph Curry is having an amazing year, but it's a down year by his standards, right? Have you noticed how the media has turned on Steph this year? Have you noticed that? People are enjoying him somewhat struggling. Even the Warriors overall, because they win so much, they're enjoying him somewhat struggling. You're seeing memes and GIFs highlighting Steph's poor defense, which he's never been a great defender anyway. But you're seeing that this year. And his numbers are a little down for him, and the vultures are out. Well, let's look at his dad, Dale Curry. Dale Curry never did any of this stuff that LaVar Ball is doing. Never. He never put any pressure on Steph to be this or to be that. He didn't talk him up. It was all anything except for support is that he did, that's all he did. But yet it didn't matter because the people came for him anyway. The people came for his son anyway, because once he got to a certain level of popularity and fame, the people are going to come for you. That is the way our society is set up, unfortunately, that if a person starts to succeed, here comes the haters. So LaVar Ball's point is the haters are coming anyway. I may as well push my sons to be as profitable as possible in the meantime. And if they're going to ball, they're going to ball. Because I believe he knows his sons. I believe he thinks that Lonzo is a baller. And Lonzo can ball above the chatter. I don't know if he feels that same way about LiAngelo and LaMelo. And here's one thing. Parents who are involved with their children and who care about their children, they know their kids. They know which kid is strongest in one area. They know what they can say to one kid that they can't say to the other. They know, we know our children. Okay. I believe, now this is me. This is Brian Mazique's opinion. This is not anything LaVar Ball told me or told anybody else that I know of. I believe that LaVar Ball knows that Lonzo is the only super talent among his sons. I believe he knows that LiAngelo is a fringe, at best, he's a fringe NBA player. If I had to give a player comp for LiAngelo Ball in the NBA, his ceiling is Jared Dudley. That's what I think. He's about 6'4.5", 6'5". He's built like a power forward. He's not an explosive athlete in any way at all. He hasn't shown he can beat anybody off the dribble, but yet he's the height of a guard. Now, he is a great spot-up shooter, so I can see him as a catch-and-shoot kind of guy, but he's going to have to give maximum effort on defense the way Jared Dudley does to have a spot. LaMelo is a little bit harder to gauge because he's still just a sophomore. He has a decent height for the point guard position at 6'2", and he could obviously grow a few inches within his last 2 years of high school. But he, too, is not an explosive athlete. I wonder if he will be able to consistently beat guys on the next level off the dribble. Some people say, man, you scored 92 points in a game. It's 92 points. Hey, it all depends how the points come. Now, the kid can shoot the ball. That's not, and his jump shot is ugly, but I don't worry about that as much as other people do. Does it go down? Can you theoretically get it off if it, against a defender who is trying to literally take away your space? If the answer to those questions is yes, I don't care if you kick it in the basket. I don't care as long as it goes down, and so the kid can shoot, but he's not going to get some of the looks on the next level that he gets now. I don't know that his vision as a point guard is good enough to succeed on the next level. Now, I know all of that about Lonzo. Lonzo Ball, I've said it before. If I got the #1 pick, he's my guy. I think he is a winner. He plays winning basketball. You hear about people talking about his jump shot form, and it's not pretty, but I see his ability to create space off the dribble. Also, I was telling somebody this today. The jump shot and the scoring aspect is just one small part of Lonzo Ball's game. He does so many things well. I would venture to say the scoring is probably 3rd or 4th on the list of his qualities. He is, in my opinion, Jason Kidd with a more dependable jump shot. And he runs an offense. He plays excellent in transition. He knows how to move the ball, whether it's in half court or like I said, in transition. Now, he does need to work on how he plays on the pick and roll, because I can see how that could be an issue, because coming from Chino Hills, even though I do think that he's shown some ability to execute in the half court, but how often do you see? I mean, if you watch Chino Hills play, these guys don't run screen and roll. They rarely run anything. So I think that's the only thing about Lonzo. But the other thing you got to remember, he's only 19. He'll be 20 this year. He's going to get better. Barring an injury, I'm going to give you a prediction. You guys can say I'm crazy. You can say it's too early. Barring an injury to Lonzo Ball, I believe he is going to be one of the best point guards in the NBA over the next 10 seasons. That is a bold, huge prediction for a kid that has not played a second in the NBA. But what I see from him, from a standpoint of running an offense, his size, his level of athleticism, his ability to consistently knock down long-range jump shots, his instincts on defense and on offense, he's a special player. And if I had the #1 pick, he's my guy. He's the guy I'm picking. So I believe in Lonzo Ball. I believe LaVar Ball also believes in Lonzo Ball. I think he believes in him the most. And so if LiAngelo and LaMelo are not able to rise as highly in their careers as Lonzo, if LaVar has built the Ball brother brand, he has still put them in position to all benefit. If he can secure a shoe contract for all 3 kids, and maybe it won't be $1 billion, but we all know how negotiations go. You ask for one thing, even though you settle for less, but you go to the top when you say what you believe that you're worth. You don't go in and tell somebody exactly what you think you're worth, because they're more than likely going to offer you something just beneath that. So that's just the normal way that you go about things. I just feel, like I said, LaVar Ball, it definitely seems like he could be an annoying guy to talk to. He can get on your nerves here and there. But I admire his vision. He has a vision for his sons, and he is going to push them to try to get there. And it's always difficult to know when and how much you should push your child. I mean, on a much smaller scale, I go through it with Junior. I go through it with Junior. Sometimes I'm like, man, should I really, push Junior this way? Should I have Junior, have him practice this much? Should I do this? Should I just let him just chill? Maybe this is, maybe I should just leave him alone. And I'm never going to let it be, to the point where, oh my God, now he hates to see me coming, because it's never dad stuff. It's always, it's always, you got to practice. It's always this, it's always that. But now I really realize if your child is going to be special and going to do something beyond the what we would call the norm, you got to push them. You can't be afraid to push him. You can't be afraid to say, hey, you know what? It's time to practice, man. You got to do this. You got to do that. How bad do you want to be as good as you can be in this? How bad do you want it? You know? So, and I say that to say, like, at one point, y'all, Junior could not dribble very well at all. But I told him, I'm like, Junior, you got to work on your handles, man. That's something that you got to do. And he's not Kyrie Irving or anything like that. But I'm going to show y'all a quick video of how good Junior's handles have gotten, to the point where at one point, all he could do was dribble just like really with his right hand. He could not do anything at all with his left, nothing at all going between his legs. He couldn't even really dribble without looking at the ball, right? But I'm going to show y'all where he is right now. And obviously, yeah, I'm very proud to show this, because I mean, he really shocked me with how well, how much he has improved. Just take a look at this. And this is why you continue to have your kids practice and you continue to believe in them, because he could not do, I mean, like I said, he's not the greatest ball handler ever. He's going to lose it right there. But this isn't like just 2 months of him working. This is just like in 2 months of him working, and if you know where he came from with the handle and to see where he is now, you'll see, you know how impressive this is for his growth, for his personal growth. Now, I don't know where his ceiling is. I don't know what all he can ultimately end up being able to do on that front, but I know that that's a humongous improvement from where he was. And so I look at Junior and I say, man, I'm looking, then I put myself in LaVar Ball's situation. And like I said, I wouldn't do everything that he's doing, but I totally get the push. I totally get the push, and I totally get the vision. He has a vision for his kids to maximize their potential. He knows where LeAngelo is. He knows where LaMelo is. And he said it in an interview that I watched before I wrote the interview. Before I wrote the article. He said Lonzo is the engine, and the other ones just follow behind him. He knows Lonzo's got the most game. He knows it. He knows that. But he's thinking about his entire family. That's what he's thinking about. Now, it might come out as him saying crazy stuff. Oh, Lonzo's better than Steph. Well, I'll beat Michael Jordan in a one-on-one. That's just him talking. You know what I'm saying? That's just talk. It's all just talk. And he doesn't care if you think he's crazy. He doesn't care. And there's a freedom in not caring about what somebody thinks about you. There's a freedom in it. And I'm not going to say I'm like a humongous LaVar Ball fan, but I am definitely not down on him like other people are. Now, I mean, that could change tomorrow. If someone could come out, he could do or say something, I'm like, oh my God, that's just way too much, though. But as of right now, I'm not where most people are with him. I hope that his sons just kill it. I hope they do. And I hope they do get $1 billion shoe contract. Why wouldn't I? Doesn't bother me. I hope those young guys and that family is blessed in that way. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. I'm not going to want to see his sons fail. I saw somebody tweet it. This dude tweeted, he said, I hate to root against a kid because of their parents, but LaVar Ball is making it really hard. Really? Really? So you the type of dude that goes to a youth basketball game and you got a parent in the stands that's yelling and being loud and boisterous, and now you want that kid to fail because his parent is yelling in the stands? That's the dude you are? I think we need to be talking about you more than we talking about LaVar Ball. That's just the worst kind of hating. I coach youth sports. And believe you me, there's times where parents say things or do things, you're like, what in the world are you talking about? But I'm going to take that out on a kid? That's dumb, man. That's just ridiculous. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But I'm going to end the stream on that note. I knew I was going to go off on the LaVar Ball tangent for a second. But I appreciate you guys watching as always. Junior and I will be doing our live stream of the Legends Project shortly after this. So stay tuned for that. The email will go out, not the email. The tweet will go out about the start of the stream. So check that out. It is actually going to be the Brooklyn Nets. The all-time Nets are going to be playing. I thought it was going to be Miami, but I realized I left Brooklyn out. And then I'm trying to figure out, I'm going in alphabetical order. How did I leave Brooklyn out? Well, I was going from a list that I had done in 2010, and they were still in New Jersey. So that's how that ended up being a problem. But it is what it is. We're ready. Brooklyn Nets going in. So they got a pretty good team. So we'll see if I'm able to beat Junior with that squad. But as always, I appreciate you watching. God bless. Peace.